Good afternoon. According to Dr. Stuart Close, how we have to evaluate the symptoms. There are different methods of evaluation of symptoms. So, according to Dr. Stuart Close, how we evaluate the symptom. A symptom is an evidence of disease or change from a state of health. In materia medica, no relevant fact is too significant to be overlooked. A symptom which appears trifling to the careless or superficial examiner may become, in the hands of the expert, the key which unlocks a difficult problem in therapeutics. So, what is symptom? Symptom is nothing but it is a evidence. With the symptom, we can know that the person's healthy state it changed into disease state, and in our materia medica, nothing, no fact, no things we should overlook. A symptom which appears trifling to the careless or superficial examiner may become, in the hands of the expert, the key which unlocks a difficult problem in therapeutics. So, never overlook or never consider any symptom as a, or never ignore any symptom, because all symptoms they are important from our homeopathic point of view, and according to Dr. Stuart Close also, the symptoms are nothing but the key which unlock a difficult problem in therapeutics. So, to overlook or to overcome the difficult problems in therapeutics, the symptoms are only the key. We have here the basis of the common division of symptoms into two general classes, that is subjective and objective. So what is subjective symptom and what is objective symptom? The subjective symptoms are symptoms which are discoverable by the patient alone. These are the symptoms which are felt by the patient, such as pain and other morbid sensations of the body or mind, presenting no external indications. So the subjective symptoms are the symptoms which are felt by person as pain. For example, the pain, it is only felt by the person and not by the physician or other people, or any kind of sensations. It is also only felt by the person and not by the attendant, the physician. So these are called as subjective symptom. The sensations, it may be related to body, it may be related to mind, presenting no external indications. So the subjective symptoms are symptoms which are discoverable by patient alone, such as pain and other morbid sensations of body or mind, presenting no external indications. Prior to Hahnemann's time, two of the most frequently occurring and important groups of symptoms were practically ignored: the mental symptoms and the subjective symptom. So before Dr. Hahnemann's time, these mental symptoms as well as these subjective symptoms, they are ignored. They should not give the importance while considering the symptoms of the patient. Sorry. Extremely sorry. Screen is visible. Yes. Screen is visible. So prior to Dr. Hahnemann's time, two of the most frequently occurring important group of symptoms, as we know, the subjective symptoms, the mental symptoms, these are very much important symptoms because they give us what exactly the person is. It gives us the exact idea about the personality of the patient. So these symptoms are very much important, and prior to Dr. Hahnemann's time, these symptoms, they are ignored. These symptoms, they have not given the value before the time of Dr. Hahnemann. So these are nothing but the subjective symptom, and they are very much important for finding out the similima as expression of the interior state of the organism, and particularly of the psychic and mental states. They take the highest rank. Nothing can supersede them. As we know, the expression of the interior state of organism is nothing but the person's or the patient's mental state, his psychological state, and these are these symptoms, they represent the man. So they have given the highest rank. They constitute the only direct avenue of approach to that inner sphere which must otherwise remain closed to our investigation, except as it is indirectly revealed in certain automatic or involuntary objective symptoms, from which more or less accurate deductions can sometimes be made. So these subjective symptoms, as they constitute the direct approach to the inner sphere, these subjective symptoms as well as the symptoms related to mental condition, they directly show us what the person is. They directly show us the inner sphere of the person, and unless we can approach to that inner sphere, which must otherwise remain close to our investigation, except as it is indirectly revealed in certain automatic or involuntary objective symptoms, from which more or less accurate deductions can sometimes be made. So, these are very important symptoms and they enable the physician to view disease from the standpoint of the patient. So with the help of these symptoms, we can able to find out the disease. We can able to view the disease from the standpoint of the patient. This is all about the subjective symptom. Now, what is the objective symptom? So, as the subjective symptom, it was felt by the person himself. The objective symptoms, it was defined by Dr. Hahnemann as it was the expression of the disease in the sensations and functions of that side of the organism exposed to the senses of the physician and bystander. So, the objective symptoms, they are nothing but the expression of the disease, the expression of the sensation and function of that organ which is diseased, and which we can able to see, which the bystanders or the physician, they can able to observe, they can able to see what are the expression of the disease in terms of its sensation and function of that organism. There is more in an objective symptom than is perceptible to the eye alone. So these objective symptoms are easily perceptible by the eye alone. The subjective sensations and functions of the visibly affected organ or part are to be considered as well as the purely objective signs. Hahnemann here implies that functional and sensational disturbances precede organic changes, and this is consistent with his basic premise that all disease is primarily a dynamical disturbance of the life principle. So the subjective sensations and functions of the organ or part, sensations and functions of the organ and part, they are called as objective signs. And Hahnemann implies that functional and sensational disturbances precede organic changes, and this is consistent with his basic premise that all disease is primarily a dynamical disturbance of life principle. According to Dr. Hahnemann, Functional and sensational disturbances. When there is some functional and sensational disturbances, then afterwards in the person we get, or we observe some organic changes, and this is consistent with his basic premise that all disease is primarily a dynamic disturbance of the life principle. Disease is nothing but a dynamic disturbance first. There is disturbances at the dynamic level, at the level of his life principle, and then it was reflected, or then we found the changes in his organic level, or at his organic level we get the changes. Then totality of symptom. We discuss about analysis, we discuss about evaluation. Then after doing analysis, we have to do evaluation. Then after that, we have to construct the totality of the symptom before repertorization. So what is totality of symptom? It is nothing but an expression peculiar to homeopathy which requires special attention. It is highly important to understand exactly what it means and involves, because the totality of the symptom is the true and only basis for every homeopathic prescription. So the to construct the proper totality, to construct the totality in such a way that we can able to find out, with the help of that totality of symptom, the proper homeopathic simillimum. So it is highly important to understand exactly what it means and what it involves, because the totality of the symptoms is the true and only basis for every homeopathic prescription. Without forming the totality, we cannot able to do proper repertorization and find or reach towards the simillimum. The totality of symptoms means first the totality of each individual symptom. A single symptom is more than a single fact. It is a fact with its history, its origin, its location, its progress or direction, and its conditions. So a single symptom, it is more than a single fact, and it is a fact with its history, origin, location, progress, and its conditions. Every complete symptom has three essential elements, that is location, sensation, and modality. By location is meant the part, organ, tissue, or function of the body or mind in which the symptoms appear. So while constructing the totality, we have to consider every symptom in a proper way, with its history, with its origin, its location, its progress or direction, and its conditions. Every complete symptom has three essential elements, that is location, sensation and modality. By location is meant the part, organ, tissue or function of the body or mind in which the symptom appears. By sensation is meant the impression or consciousness of an impression upon the central system through the medium of the sensory or afferent nerves or through one of the organs of senses, a feeling or state of consciousness produced by an external stimulus or by some change in the internal state of the body. And what is sensation? It is nothing but impression or consciousness of the impression upon central system through the medium of sensory or afferent nerve or through one of the organ of senses, a feeling or state of consciousness produced by an external stimulus or by some change in internal state of the body. A sensation may also be purely mental or physical reaction. It is like fright, fear, anger, grief and jealousy. So the sensation is nothing but the mental or physical reaction, as they have given the example like fright, fear, anger, grief and jealousy. By modality, after location sensation comes modality. By modality, we refer to the circumstances and conditions that affect or modify a symptom, of which the conditions of aggravation and amelioration are the most important. So, which things modify the circumstance, which things modify the conditions, which things aggravate the condition, which things ameliorate the condition, it is most important to know. The totality of symptom means all the symptoms of the case which are capable of being logically combined into a harmonious and consistent whole, having form, coherency, and individuality. Technically, the totality is more than the mere numerical totality of the symptoms. It includes the concomitants or form in which symptoms are grouped. So, in short, logically and harmoniously combination of symptoms of the individual so that we can get the exact picture, exact idea of the patient, of the person, how the person is. This logically and systematically harmoniously arrangement of symptoms is nothing but the totality. And in totality, we have to consider all these things of each symptom, that is location, sensation, modality, and concomitant regarding each sensation as well as the mental and physical state of the person. The totality must express an idea when studying a case from the diagnostic standpoint. For example, certain symptoms are selected as having a non-pathological relation to each other, and upon these is based the diagnosis. The classification of symptoms thus made represent the diagnostic idea. Just so, the totality of symptoms considered as the basis of a homeopathic prescription represents the therapeutic idea. These two groups may be and often are different. The elements which go to make up the therapeutic totality must be as definitely and logically related and consistent as are the elements which go to make up the diagnostic totality. So, the totality which express the idea of the person as well as for the diagnostic, for the standpoint of diagnosis also it is helpful. The totality is not therefore a mere haphazard fortuitous jumble of symptoms thrown together without rhyme or reason, and more than a similar haphazard collection of pathogenic symptoms including constitutes materia medica. So, totality forming or totality means we cannot take the symptoms in haphazard way, but should be collected in a proper way so that we can able to form a picture of the disease condition, picture of the patient. Totality means the sum of the aggregate of symptoms, not merely the numerical aggregate, the entire number of symptoms as particulars or single symptoms, but their sum total, their organic whole as an individuality. So we have to arrange these symptoms in such a way that it is not only the sum or aggregate of symptoms, but our arrangement should be in such a way that with the totality we can identify the individuality of the person. The totality means the sum of aggregate of symptoms, not merely the numerical aggregate, the entire number of symptoms as particulars of single symptoms, but their sum total, their organic whole as an individual. He follows Onimussen's method to solve this, starting with the basic idea that every symptom is composed of three elements, that is location, sensation, modality, and that fragmentary symptoms may be completed by analogy or by supplementary clinical observation of curative